And here we go once again, my friends. This is Servitude, Tales from the Weeds. Hello, friends and colleagues, and welcome to Servitude, Tales from the Weeds. This is B. Frank. I have over a dozen years experience as a bartender and a busser in restaurants and bars. And Servitude, Tales from the Weeds is our vain attempt to establish a sense of camaraderie from those who have worked in the trenches in restaurants, bars, cafes, and diners, and hopefully plant some seeds of empathy in those who have not worked those jobs and see how we do things and the trials and tribulations of serving food and beverage to the hungry masses. And today I have a very special guest, a very lovely friend of mine. We had an interesting way of how we first met and became friends for well over a decade. I'm bringing to the stage my wonderful friend, Jenni, also known as Jenny Jack Emerson. How's that for an intro?
That's a beautiful intro. I was like, what else is he going to say? Yay!
Everybody, this is my friend Jenni. We've been pals for well over 12 years at least, I think.
Seems longer because
it
does because of how well we
right.
You get it. We meshed well.
And we both happen to be from the Pacific Northwest, but we met in LA. Do you want to tell them how we met?
I was a lowly bartender at a place called Bogey Sports Bar. It was just this little hole in the wall in North Redondo Beach. And I worked there by myself, and I would have people just come in randomly and get a drink. It was kind of like a stop on the way home place. And then Brian walks in, and he's wearing a Seahawks hat, and I instantly get excited because you just run into every kind of fan when you live in California. But when you run into your kind of fans, then you just get super stoked. And I decided to say hello. And the way I said hello was to run around the bar and show him the Seattle 12 that is tattooed on my ass.
Yes. So within
right
next to the first 5 minutes, I saw Jenny's
hat. 5 minutes. It was very sweet. Where I work now, I can't do that anymore. Yes. Started watching games, hanging out all the time. Yes.
My best friend and I, we just moved down to Redondo Beach from San Fernando Valley, Studio City, and we had gone to one or two bars before then. But I think I met you within the first month of moving to Redondo because Bogey's right there.
I actually didn't know that. I thought you'd been living there for a long ass time.
No, we just moved there, and the first bar we went to was the Dolphin, which was across the street and up the block, and it turned out to be a gay bar.
I had never gone there. I had planned to at least once or twice, but we never went. So it's
drinks are good, friendly service, nice little joint.
You're welcome.
But then we went to Bogey's, and we,
good job wearing that Seahawks hat, man. You make sense fast.
Yeah.
At least with me.
How many years experience in any level of food service, cocktailing, hosting?
I'd never bartended, never been a server before I moved to LA. Before that, I worked in tanning salons, and I was a barista, so that's kind of a bartender, I guess. A bartender is just like tons and tons of people standing at the bar, and you're making different drinks for them.
Let's touch on baristas for a second. Were you at a stand or a cart or an actual establishment?
A lot of different stands, actually. I worked at a couple near where I grew up in Montesano, so like Aberdeen, where Kurt Cobain is from, if people don't know.
Aberdeen,
Kurt Cobain. Then once I graduated from high school, I moved up to Tacoma and just had random jobs at different coffee stands. I did work at Deja Vu strip club for 1 hour.
Oh.
Not as a stripper, as a server. So I guess I had 1 hour of serving experience. When they sat me down and told me there was something I had to do while I was there, which was all the servers had to put their trays down and they had to get a cleaning bottle and they had to clean the poles and the stage and stuff where other women's stuff is touched. I was like, oh, no, thanks. I don't even like cleaning up after myself half the time. Like, that's so gross. Yeah. So basically I was a barista. And
the barista job, especially at a stand, that's just order, serve, they go away. It's not like they're going to hang out for a couple of hours.
Next person in line comes up to the window. You can escape people from there.
Right.
And you can yell out things like, God, I fucking hate this person. And then they get up to the window and you're like, hey, how are you? You know, you can let all that, I don't like this mean person out before they even get to the window. So I do miss that.
Did you go through any kind of bartending training, any bartending school?
No, I actually, I learned through watching and
OTJ training.
because I love to learn from actual people and like being in the environment and learning as opposed to watching and listening, studying. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like my brain goes too many different places if I'm not.
Observational, yeah.
Yes. I bartended at Sully's Tavern in Torrance for a little bit, but I started there as a server.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my bartending came from just coming from being a server the whole time. And then I really got immersed in bartending. What was that place across the street from Gasser Lounge? O'Hearn's.
O'Hearn's, yeah.
O'Hearn's. I got a job there because I was working at Pitcher House and I needed a second job. Mm-hmm. Just after learning everything I already knew and actually being behind there and getting to do it. Oh, I loved it.
So it's mostly dive bars. Did they all have grills?
No. O'Hearn's didn't. Bogey's didn't. Sully's, yeah. They were they had Hawaiian food. But yeah, most of the bars were dive bars that I worked at.
The thing that I notice about dive bars is usually there's maybe 2 wells just for like a sports night on a Sunday or something like that. But typically there's one person working there for the entire establishment. Oh yeah.
3 out of the few that I worked at, it was just me, even late into 2 a.m.
Was that daunting or were you already just like, yeah, whatever?
I'm a pretty independent and not a courageous person as it is. So I was very okay with being there by myself. Plus I had so many guy friends that would come and hang out with me till the end of the night. Sometimes I would ask them to, especially like on a Saturday or Sunday. I just knew that I had people out there that were looking out for me. I wasn't scared or worried about nights, usually being there by myself.
I think you were working at Bogey's when there was a bartender murdered up the road.
I wasn't. That was a few years before I started working there.
Yeah, and it ended up on one of those crime shows, one of those crime enactment shows.
That's crazy. I was just thinking about that girl yesterday. Yeah. That's so weird that you brought that up.
I know that was way before I moved down there, but I remember hearing about it at the bar.
Yes.
About, oh, well, you know, that girl up the road, you know, was being stalked and it ended up on, I don't know, one of those true TV shows or something with the reenactment.
I thought about that a lot when I was working there, but I also became very close friends with all my bartender friends in that area. So I'd always let them know, like, hey, if you see me, they're like, we'll let you in, you know, if anything's going wrong, we got your back, you know, just call us. And we did. We would like, hey, I just kicked out a guy for such and such. I think he's on his way to you. Don't serve him. Like we all looked out for each other.
Yeah, because that block had at least 4 bars on it within like maybe a 2 or 3 block span. And if somebody gets cut off, they're just going to stumble to the next one.
And they did. They definitely did.
Yeah.
And when your bartender friends that down the street don't warn you, you'd be like, dude, what the hell? Well, I was just trying to get rid of them. It's just like, oh.
I spent the majority of my years bartending at a Hollywood destination spot. People would go there specific Yamashiro, Hollywood Hills.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's at the top of this hill. So nobody's going up there if you nobody's going up there unless you live up there or you're going to Yamashiro. We have dates and Valentine's Day and wedding proposals and all of that. Nobody came up there to talk to girls, or anything.
That wasn't exactly, that's the exact opposite of the places that I worked at. And I thrived in those situations, I guess. I don't know.
My personality is a lot more catered to the dive bars, the conversation, burn and turn, shake it and slide it, rather than the craft cocktails and all of that that's happening now. So I would have done a whole lot better at a dive bar where you can establish that rapport with people and get more repeat guests. Because where I worked, a repeat guest would be like, you'd see them once every 2 months.
And you'd still remember their drink. I did that all the time.
Right.
I remember their drinks. They're like, I came in here a month ago. And I'm like, I don't know. You made a good impression. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't remember your name, but your drink order is right.
Right. Yeah, I could never remember anybody's name. I can remember their faces just enough to say I think I've seen them before, but
Yes.
I spend the time trying to use keywords and try and figure out what their name is.
Yeah, that's rum and coke with 2 limes guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a name. He just has a drink order that I remember.
What's your favorite part about working those dive bars?
Okay, I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
One is being able to talk and say whatever, anything that I
Right.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Getting to like kick somebody out and they're like, I'm not tipping. It's like, my tip is you leaving. Don't be a dick and I won't be a dick back, right? And then
Right.
my second part is when you sometimes got to take a shot with your tables. There's just some places you can do that where you can have fun with your customers. As long as it doesn't interfere with how you're working, then that was probably another fun part.
To those of you out there who don't know, every bartender has drank on the job at least once, unless you're a recovering alcoholic and you don't drink at all. I drink on the job and I just start getting loose lips, and it's not a dive bar and I can't just say whatever I want, but I become a pretty sarcastic individual when
exactly
when I've got a little bit of tequila or something in me. So
that's why I never worked in the more high-end ones. Even without alcohol, I usually can say things that I shouldn't say. I don't need that going on. At least in a dive bar and stuff, it's still funny.
If I ever had any, which was rarely while I'm on shift, it would be towards the end.
Exactly.
After people have left. Oh, can we buy you a shot? And I'm like, no, thank you. Just you can leave me a tip, but
exactly.
I can't drink with you. I'll end up getting reprimanded.
Yeah, if it was super busy like it would get at Picture House, you won't find me drinking or taking a shot with tables or anything like that.
Right.
Because it's a lot to remember for that, how big that place was. Like, there's no way that I could have a drink. But if it's, like you said, near the end of your shift and you're about to get off, it's just like, okay, I'll take that shot now if you guys want before I close you out. Like, or just get me one after I get off my shift.
You have clients asking you what you're doing after work, or what are you doing on Monday? Somebody trying to ask you out?
If I really think about it, not really. When I think about it, I'm like, no, I don't think I really did. I didn't know that one was going to come up. Like I had a boyfriend or two. I want to make money now and then play later.
Right.
So most of my stuff, like I'm always focusing on. Mm-hmm. So I've been proposed to by very drunk men a few times.
Got a box
that have never met me
rings.
Before. No. It's just like the end of the night. It's just like, oh, I love you, Jenny. You have to marry me. It's just like, nothing's ever been real from there. I think that's why it's like you don't want to meet somebody in a bar. You know what I mean?
Right. When I was still in my early 30s, I was asked out once or twice, mostly by women.
Mostly by women.
Every so often by a guy. I remember there was a woman who came up there and sat by herself. And, at the place that I worked, I just presumed that they're waiting on somebody. And she had been there for about 45 minutes. And I asked her, are you waiting on somebody late and meeting you? And she goes, no, I'm just here by myself. It's my birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Oh. And I didn't have anything to do. And, I live a couple of blocks in that direction. So I thought I'd just go out and have some dinner and things. So we ended up talking, and long story shorter, she gave me her number and asked me to call her when I got off work. My manager, this older guy, he watches her leave and he comes up and he's like, did you get that girl's number? I said, yeah. She gave me her number. Oh my gosh, are you going to call her? I said, no, I'm not. He says, what? Why not? She knows where I work.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that.
Never thought about it like that. She knows where I work.
If she starts coming around, it's just, I don't think it's a good idea. Let that be a lesson to everybody, That's
a good thought. Maybe that's why I didn't really do that either. Because it's just like, they know where I work. If it doesn't work out, I can't escape this person.
Sorry, but this is LA. Not that there's not crazy people in other towns, but there's some toxic people there, and you just really don't know who you're going to roll the dice on. Yes. So I just kind of made it a rule. I'll play the bartender game. I'll do my best to be conversational and even charming or a little bit flirty. That's part of the job. But I never really wanted to see anybody after work.
It's like, please don't misconstrue me being nice as a invitation for you to ask me out. It's like, sorry, right. I really don't want that. I'm just a naturally very nice person. That's why I do this.
I was with a group of people at a Hooters.
Woo!
And
Sorry,
there
I
was,
don't know why.
these, yeah, I know, right? There were these drunken frat boys, and we were just watching them get up and leave. And there was one drunk guy who was trying to ask out the server. So I saw one of them just following the girl around. She's trying to bust the table, and she's smiling and going, no, and he's trying to get her number and follows her to where the employees only area is and stand there and wait for her. And then she'd come back out. She didn't call the manager or anything like that. And, outside of following her like a lost puppy and acting kind of like a fool, he wasn't doing anything, really, really wrong.
That's just annoying.
Ultimately, his friends had to come and get him. Come on, we're leaving, man. They were standing at the door. They thought it was funny for a while. And then she comes over to us. She goes, oh my gosh, thanks for the help, guys. I was like, this must be really rough sometimes.
I never really got asked out, I guess. So, I mean, I did and I didn't. I'd have to really think about it. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't notice. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like you always had a bunch of real positive guys around. So that probably kind of gave off a vibe that, maybe one of them was with you or something like that. But
and usually
understanding that you never got asked out by working.
Yeah. And usually when something's bothering me, I'm going to fucking tell you. Like, it's like, knock it off. Or I'm very vocal about people like overstepping their boundaries around me. And even with other girls, I would stick or be there for him too. Ones that were annoyed at the bar, it's just like, if he goes to the bathroom, I'm like, do you need me to help you get out of this situation right now? Or they're like, yes, or no, he's fine. It would be one or the other.
I was at a bar in Kansas City. I was sitting there and this young woman came up and sat next to me, and she was already trashed. And this was a nice place, like that New York style gastropub type joint.
Ooh.
And I'm sitting here waiting for my food, and I feel her head on my shoulder, and I turn and look, and she's like half passed out, and our very nice bartender, she comes over and says, your food's going to be here in just a minute. Okay. And I go,
yeah.
She goes, and she taps her and says, need you to wake up, honey. And she wakes up and she says, oh, and she points at me and she goes, the guy that you're supposed to meet, he showed up. He's over at the other end of the bar. Did you want to move your food over there? Oh, is he here already? Yeah, he's here. Okay. Oh, I gotta go. But
that's cool.
She was really on point.
Yep. I actually loved being that kind of savior type person, I guess. Just like the angel that came out of nowhere.
What's your method when you have to cut someone off? This is the part of the job that I always hated, is having to be somebody's mommy.
Exactly. And especially if they're a bigger guy. I'm thinking of this guy that would come into Bogey's. He was an issue with all the bars. And if he would come in when I was working, like on a late night, but mind you, most of my late night working when I did work in the bars was when I was a server. So I didn't have to cut a lot of people off. But when I worked sometimes at Bogey's on a weekend, which was rare, there was this one guy that would come in, and I hated cutting him off because he would make a huge fit, because nobody ever cuts him off. And, he spends lots of money and And I was just like, well, guess what? I don't want you leaving here super drunk and getting in an accident. It's more so looking out for him, actually. It wasn't that he was annoying or anything. It's just I knew how wasted he was. And if he drank anymore, he was going to get himself in a lot of trouble. But he would still make a big deal about it. I try to block those kind of things out because I would feel guilty about cutting somebody off from spending their money and knowing their own limits.
Right. We don't like having to do that.
No, never.
To it. We're here to help people have a good time and enjoy their evening, enjoy their friends, and make them tasty cocktails. Having to tell somebody, look, you obviously can't handle this on your own. So you're done. I'm not going to serve you. What, like, you're cutting me off? Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
It's like, what's the best way to say this to somebody you don't know very well? I knew it had to be done, and it brought good things. I actually got from the Redondo Beach Police Department. They brought me a stuffed little German Shepherd and said, in all the years that I've worked there, every time I'm working, he's yet to give out a DUI or have to come there for.
Oh, really?
Because I could handle situations like that very well because I knew when somebody was done or tell them like, hey, your bill's up to this. How do you feel about that? Usually if you tell them what their bill is, they're just like, oh shit. Like, and you still have to tip on top of that, man. I didn't say that, but like, this is where your bill's at right now, man. Do you really want to, because you might have to owe a whole lot more if you get busted driving home or anything like that.
A lot of people don't know this, but if we are caught over serving somebody,
that too,
or if they leave our place and then they go and kill somebody on the road, we are personally liable for that accident.
I think I knew that, but I don't know. I don't think I did. I was just looking out for them. I don't know if it was going to affect me at all. I just knew, and it would. If something happened to that person, I would feel terrible for the rest of my life.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't be able to get over it, because that's what kind of person I am. It's like, I was trying to look out for them. Even if I did everything that I could, I would just feel horrible, like not cutting that person off sooner.
My method of cutting people off kind of progressed, as I gained more experience. Like when I was a first year bartender, I worked at a steakhouse way up in the valley. It was a low income area, so walking with like $60 was considered a C+ average. And yeah, it was bad. People would order another round and I'd say, how you feeling about that? But they don't have any indicator. They're getting drunk, and
the inhibitions are gone,
like,
man.
all right,
they don't care anymore.
I've even told people, okay, last one for you, drink it slow. And then they invariably order another one. I can't serve you any more alcohol, man. Why? Well, why do you think? Because you're visibly inebriated. You're cutting me off? Yeah, I'm cutting you off, if you want to call it that. Then it turns into a problem. Through trial and error, kind of tend to learn other tactics based on the personality that you're seeing,
I totally remember. Look, I did it. I remembered something. There is one thing that I did do that helped a lot that I totally forgot. When I would have overly drunk people, I would be like, okay, I'm going to make you one more. And then that's like, we got to cut you off. I would make them a cocktail, but it wouldn't have any alcohol in it. And I wouldn't charge them for it. But since they were so drunk, they wouldn't know. They were basically drinking like water and lime juice, or like water and olive juice or something, something that had like a kick to it.
That so deadened that.
And I might even put like a small little bit down the straw so they could kind of taste alcohol, but then that they would be so satisfied with that because they got a free drink and they still got one more that I really didn't have a problem with them. It did work. And I wouldn't charge them for it. So I think makes it a slightly okay thing to do.
You don't have the pleasure of experiencing, because usually you're just working by yourself, is when I have to get into a dispute with my server who's over serving the table, and it comes up on the printer. Some company had their Christmas party at this crappy steakhouse. They had been there for maybe 2 hours. The printer's just printing off like crazy. I'm pulling out like cases of Heineken and all those drinks that put people immediately on alert, like Long Island's and electric.
How many people?
There were maybe 15 people.
Okay.
But within
just
2 hours, within 2 hours, I printed up their running tabs so far. Out of we'll say 15 people that were there, each of them had 7 drinks.
Holy shit.
On average.
That's an average. That
and
means
it was our
more.
veteran server, and he's smelling auto gratuity and extra cash. Do you know how many drinks these people have ordered? They haven't even been here 2 hours yet, and they're averaging 7 drinks per person. They're done.
Don't stop.
No, they want another round. No, you're not listening to me. They're done. You want another round? You got to come back here and get it. I am not making them anything. So he takes it to the manager, who's spineless, and says, give them another round. I said, they are being overserved right now. It's illegal for me to do that. You're going to take responsibility for it? I told this guy, okay, this is their last round coming up. And you know what comes up on the printer? 2 drinks each.
Oh my gosh. That's a nightmare. It's like nobody's listening to me.
I'm the one behind the bar. Like I said, one of them drives home, kills somebody. I'm the one who goes to jail,
Amen.
And
it's like, we have nothing against you guys.
No,
the fact that we're doing this means so much that we care. We want you to get home safe. We want you to I mean, the morning after is going to be hell already for you if you're drinking that much.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
insane. But to
And
have
the
nobody
server,
in you work with listening to you, that is just insane. They should be on your side. Like,
mhm,
you're totally right.
yeah.
We shouldn't be serving these people anymore.
The
But
server's
all
just
they
like,
think
yeah,
about
but
is
they're going
that
to tip
money.
really good. I was like, I don't care what they're going to
I don't
tip.
care.
They run over a child in a crosswalk or something. That's one of those live and learn situations. It's just like, sometimes it just doesn't pay to be soft about this kind of stuff.
Money is to me is just a necessary evil. It doesn't mean everything to me. And I
Right.
know that we need it to pay our rent and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
the money was never my motivation when I was a bartender server. I just
Yeah.
loved it. I had so
I
much
do love
fun.
bartending.
I love my job now and it's great because it's so responsible. But being a bartender was just,
Got
it
good
was so
benefits.
fun.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the bartender. Have you ever heard that joke? It's just like there was a wedding. The DJ said, go and hug the person that means the most to you. And then it says, and then the bartender was nearly crushed to death. Because everybody loves the bartender.
I have a different career now. If I could pick up just a Wednesday or a Thursday shift at a two-well bar that doesn't serve food,
Yep. There's a
slinging, shaking.
VFW right down the street from my house that I drive by every time I come home. And I'm like, I should just go in there and volunteer again. Because all you make from that place is the tips. You don't get paid.
VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. It's not a club, is it? I mean, if anybody who's a veteran can go there, how does that work, Jenny?
If you're a veteran, you can go in, no problem. If you weren't a veteran, then you'd have to pay $1 to go in and sit at the bar. I know, it was so crazy. And you had to sign in, and then you pay $1, and that's it. And then you got all the other benefits of being in there. When I was there, it was like $2 domestic beer, $3 for imported. The wells were like $3, $4, or $5. Like, I mean, it was crazy, and you could make good money just working there because all of it was tips basically.
Yeah.
So and it was really fun, and you got your regulars. There was only seating at the bar. It was one pool table. And it's a bunch of military guys that are already super nice and well behaved. So, I mean, working at the V was a dream. Even though they were well behaved, they heard how I would talk sometimes, and then they'd open up and be their super perverted selves, whatever they wanted to be. I didn't care. And I'd laugh along with them. We would open it. I think it was 6 a.m. was when I didn't have to work that shift very often unless I had to cover for my friend. Closing was different. Like during the week, I can't remember what time it was because I would usually, my shifts were by like 12 to 8. And then the nighttime person would come in and they'd close at like 10. The VFW closes anytime and opens anytime they want to, basically. So they try to be open by like 6:30. But if we're dead, like at 6 p.m., they'll shut the shit down. They don't even care. It's slow. Like, let's say like Beach Life Festival's going on. They're going to all be down at the pier. You're running the show. You get to open or close when you want. I would close, like work on a Friday sometimes, and I get out of there at like 10. There's nobody there. It's just me standing around behind a bar, like just praying somebody will walk into the door.
But you said that when you open at 6 o'clock, sometimes people are waiting for you.
People are waiting. Yeah. I've got the guys in the trucks. The morning crowd. It's like slowly shuffling in, ready to get their, beer and a small cocktail or something. I would only be annoyed sometimes because I'm not really a morning person, and I would always worked nighttime. So when I would have to go in, I would be getting there. I'd open the place and then I'd get right in and lock the door. It's like, I need a few minutes to set up. Yeah, there are definitely people waiting to come on in and have their drink. And they knew I was coming too. So sweet little girl running into the bar to serve the guys.
Were they generally pretty responsible, or would they just stay there all day? Okay.
They had their limit. They knew how many they wanted. If they were having a little more fun than normal, then they would have an extra drink. But that was it. After that, they were done and they'd go home.
Kind of
probably my favorite kind of patrons were the VFW guys. They're all and they were respectful to me because I was a woman. They were all so sweet, asking how I was doing, like really cared about you as a person, not just your bartender. And it was a bunch of dudes paying attention to me. Sorry, I'm an attention whore. I don't care.
Have you ever had to deal with like just an abusive customer, or you shut that down pretty quickly?
Just the way that I've been taught how to deal with people, I think I was taught very well. Anything abusive would have stopped
Mm-hmm.
instantly. I mean, they would have been gone. I would have told my other VFW guys about it, or any of my friends that were also bartenders about it, and that they shut that shit down real fast.
You ever get
So, yeah,
you ever get problems after last call?
Getting them out of the building, yes.
Yeah, I always get somebody who thinks the last call doesn't apply to them.
Nope. Just like, can I get one more? It's like, we did last call. I shut your tab down already. We're not doing that. It's like, it's time to move on. It's time to go to the next place, or, do your after party somewhere else. I'm like, I'm just trying to get people out of here so I can clean up and go to bed and come back and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, run to the gas station and get your beer before 2 o'clock.
Yep. Nobody,
but you're not doing it here.
Yep. We're still going to be here tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow. I know we are a service for you guys, but service people want to go home too and get some rest.
We had closed once, and there's somebody pounding on the emergency door. And I put that in quotes because it says emergency alarm will sound. I've never heard that alarm go off. We just used it as a door.
Yep.
So somebody's pounding on it, and he was not from this country. I think he was from the Eastern Bloc somewhere. I opened the door. I was like, yeah. He goes, in his accent, he says, I'm a customer. I said, yeah, what do you need? He goes, 1 beer. I said, we're closed. He goes, no, I'm a customer. Did you forget something? Did you leave your coat?
You were.
Yeah, I said,
you were a customer.
He goes, no. I said, what do you want? He goes, 1 beer. No beers. We're closed. See, the lights are off. The top shelf is locked. Yeah. I was like, no beer. Come back tomorrow.
The super get the fuck out of the bar. Bright lights are on right now. Like,
yeah. I was like, you don't understand closed wherever you're from, and he's trying to tell me that that's not right. I don't know how it is where you're from, but here,
I didn't make the hours, dipshit.
Yeah, it's a law. It's 2 o'clock. Everything's closed. I thought he forgot his keys or something.
Exactly. Whenever something like that happens,
like,
can I help you?
To keep drinking until he says he's done. I don't know.
Like, we're done here.
Yeah.
Shut the door, lock it, and pray he doesn't cause any more ruckus.
I had a guy, again, one of these regulars who I see every other month. This guy came in, and he always acted a little bit odd. And I thought he was just an odd person. Mm-hmm. Turns out he came in drunk all the time.
Oh.
It's like, well, I have nothing to compare it to,
Yeah.
And it's not like he came in, excuse me, sir. No, he's like, hey, how's it going?
He just never stopped drinking.
I was like, I don't want to cut you off just because you're a weird person.
Yeah.
But he had been coming in for months, and it turns out that he is that way because he's a little toasted already.
I've never seen more people drink than when I lived in California. I never even knew what Sunday Fun Day was until I'd never heard of Sunday Fun Day until I moved to LA. It's like, you guys are drinking champagne at 9 a.m.? Okay. Pour me a glass. I never, even drinking during the week was just something that was just like craziness.
Our friend Kate, who I'm sure is going to be on a future episode, she worked at a place that had Sunday brunch with bottomless mimosas between 10 and 11.
Went to a few of those places, Kate.
There'd
Kate.
be a party of 8, and you'd pour the mimosas and work your way around. By the time you got around the table, the first person's glass is empty and wants more already. It's 10 in the morning, you guys. Mm-hmm. Take it easy.
It's like, I got to work at 5 too, so maybe I'll have a couple more and then I'll take a nap.
Attach an IV, and like, oh my God, she just come home so mad. The Red Hat Squad and Karenville and all of that just can't get enough mimosas, And
I am thankful that I did not work at a place that had bottomless mimosas. I don't think that I could handle that.
Terrible idea.
At Sully's Tavern, though, the worst thing that we had was dollar beer night on Wednesday nights. And that was fun,
night?
but at the same time, it was from 8 p.m. to midnight.
Wow.
So you get dollar beers, and they always came in plastic cups. It was fun sometimes, but a lot of the time it was people trying to sneak in without their IDs too. And you got to play beer pong inside too. So, I mean, it was a pool of beer by the end of the night on the floor. And just even getting people to leave. Luckily, we had like 7 bouncers that were these huge Samoan guys that were like big teddy bears. I miss them.
Oh, yeah.
They were so fun. They were so great. And you never got tipped. It's here's $20. Here's $20 for 20 beers. Here I am carrying this huge tray, bring it to their table. And then when they, close out their tab, well, I mean, percentage wise, you get it.
Yeah.
20% on a $20 tab. It's $2, whatever.
Jerks.
Yeah.
Even in my college town, like on Tuesday nights, the dive bars would have $1 beers or $1 pitchers, but it'd be from 6 to 7. And
Yeah.
it was brilliant because all the students would go down there, get their $1 pitcher from 6 to 7. By then, you're already getting kind of loose. There's girls there, so everybody just stays, and then they jack the prices back up again, and they make their money for a Tuesday night.
But nope, we had 4 hours of uninterrupted dollar beers.
Oh my god! And what was the house beer, like Hams or something?
I think it was Coors Light. It was actually decent for what it was. Yeah. I would work those nights again if I still got to work with my friend Samantha.
Oh yeah.
She made it so much fun.
Isn't that great when you have that one coworker that makes the time go by so fast?
I had so many of those, but when it comes to dollar beer nights, I think of my friend Samantha all the time. And I still talk.
When I think of cheap beer, I like to think of my friend Samantha.
Exactly. I still talk to her like almost every day. So if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have made it. What are you drinking? Is that Fanta?
I'm drinking seltzer water.
Oh.
Working at the bar, you'd have the old-fashioned glass, and I just keep filling it with Coke.
Yeah.
And I drink that through the night, and then like a couple hours later, I'm wondering why I feel so gross. Yeah, so I stopped drinking that. I just started drinking club soda with a lime in it. My other bartender would drink half shots of Patron all night. He goes, "No, man, it makes me a whole lot more social. Makes the night go by fast." I said, "It makes me talk funny. I can't."
Yeah, I could drink pretty much anybody under the table because I was.
Yeah, I've seen you put it away. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you didn't know I was drinking, you sometimes couldn't even tell. You're like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were drunk," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so good." Did your terminology change from pop to soda?
Being from the Northwest, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
nobody knew what pop was in LA.
Because I'm like, I said pop pretty much my whole life, and then I moved to LA, and I'm like, "Do you guys want some more pop?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Soda."
Yeah, being in LA, my Mexican coworkers, they'd come back from the kitchen, whatever, and ask me for a soda. So I give them club soda, and they go, "No, Coca." I said, "Well, you didn't say Coke. You said soda. You got club soda."
There's a difference, man.
Yeah. So soda to the Mexican population, I guess soda means Coke. And then for us from the Northwest, when we say pop, we mean soda pop.
I absolutely adored all the cooks that I ever worked with. I'd always try to speak Spanish, but I'd always do it like super wrong. I was like, "Can I get poquito rancho, por favor?" And they would just crack them up all the time. I treated them like they should be treated all the time. Very nicely. Human beings.
Oh, yeah.
And they loved me. So anytime I needed something, I was just like, "Can I please get this?" Like, boom, right there. I was like, you treat people with kindness, especially your coworkers, then they'll do things for you. The cooks were probably a funner part, especially because they couldn't say my name right. Jenni. I can't say Jenni, but they can say Jenni. Not this last time in LA, but the time before, I saw one of my old coworker friends, and he passed away that next day.
Oh, wow.
It was the cook from the Pitcher House. Me and my friend Cole went to Pitcher House, of course, because that's usually the first place I go to when I go down there. He got there to cook, and I got to give him a hug, and we took a shot together, and yeah, he died that night.
Wow.
It was so weird. And then I got violently ill, like, for the rest of the trip. So I don't know what. You cry a lot for people like that because they were your friends, too.
Well, you're saying that a lot of the regulars at VFW, when they pass, not come in anymore, and then you find out that they'd passed on.
Well, they all keep in touch with each other too, but at least at the VFW, it's going to happen within a time frame that you're there. But when it's somebody that's in their 30s, 40s,
it's a shock.
It's too shocking. Because at least with the gentlemen at the V, like, you got to know them as much as you could and know they were a good person before they went. And it's not as hard.
Well, so I gotta say, some of the best friends that I've ever had in my life, I met from working at bars.
Right?
I don't know if it's because everybody has cash in their hand, and so you guys all go out or something.
That's a good point. No, I honestly,
we all have cash in our pockets.
I think they're just all just really awesome people. I actually am closer and still talk to most of the people I knew in LA more than I do than the people that I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to sound bad. Sorry, Mom, but even more than like my mom and sisters.
Uh-huh. That's another thing that I remember, when I worked at that steakhouse and nobody was making money and nobody had any money, is, we'd get together and sit on somebody's unfurnished apartment and I'll just
Yep.
sit on the carpet and drink cheap beer and,
Yep.
play some drinking game or something,
Watch an old
because like they didn't
sitcom or
have cable
something.
or yeah.
Some
Yeah, something
DVD
on
or whatever that.
DVD. Nobody had any money. There's like a real camaraderie that's involved when everybody's broke.
One thing getting used to moving back here and getting a different kind of job is not having cash on hand all the time.
Yeah. Can you tell me what's the most amount of bartender cash that you've had in your purse or in your wallet at one time? Because you
At one
just don't
time,
seem to get to the ATM to deposit it.
most of the places that I rented, I was with somebody that was already
Oh, so you're paying
on the
them?
lease. So I'm paying them cash. I didn't carry a lot of money around unless I'm going home from work. But the most money that I did have in my wallet at one time was probably about $2,500.
Right.
But that's because I wanted to go open a bank account somewhere.
Yeah.
Other than that, most of my money stayed in my room collecting until I needed to hand it over to my person that I was living with.
Yeah. This was a little while ago, so it wasn't that easy to find. There's ATMs on every corner now. I mean,
yes.
whether it's your bank or not, I don't know.
Yep.
But
there's an ATM at Costco.
Uncommon, because I would, when I was making real money at the other place, I'd change everything up for large bills. And I remember like checking my wallet. I was like, man, I have like $1,600 right now. I gotta go put this someplace. It just
I didn't like the large bills. I liked having the stacks.
I like the large bills because I didn't spend them.
Oh, really? Oh,
if I had a large bill, I didn't spend it.
That's true. I didn't spend my larger bills. I just like the stack for some reason. I don't know. So I'll ask you, how much is the most you've ever made in one night?
I haven't worked in like super clubs or anything where we're four deep. That to the layperson, that means 4 rows of people waiting to get served.
I know what it means. Yay!
Yeah, we're 4 deep when we had New Year's Eve parties. So New Year's Eve or maybe Mother's Day. I think the most I ever walked with was $350.
Nice. I think the most I've ever walked with is like $450 or a little bit more.
Well, first of all, girls always make better tips than guys. No, I mean,
I think that guy bartenders have more tricks. They can do more bottle tricks. Flair. Maybe I'm wrong. Flair. I've seen more flair with guys.
My other bartender and I, we built a pair of wells from a fold-out table, so you could hang the well off of the edge, and we'd be on the lawn outside his apartment building. We'd save the empty bottles and fill them with water and put the speed pours in, and we'd practice flipping and throwing them at each other. And,
I'd always want to do something like that, but then knowing me, if something else comes up or, But I did have a butterfly knife bottle opener, which if somebody out there fucking has it, I want it back. Somebody took it. Somebody stole it from me, but I used to do really cool tricks with it. Now, I loved that thing. I think about it all the time. Now I don't have it.
I got a job out here recently at a hotel bar. They did serve tomahawk steaks, so it wasn't nice. It wasn't no low end kind of thing. But it turned out that anything that I loved about bartending, I couldn't do there. You weren't supposed to sit here and jibber jabber with people. It was, and I think I mentioned it on a different episode, but it's craft cocktails with eyedroppers of things in the drink, and then they wouldn't let me flare either. So after my 3rd training day, I said, I don't think this is for me. I think I got to go find a burn and turn joint.
When I worked at Raging Cajun, they had.
You worked at Raging Cajun?
I did. I worked at Raging Cajun for a little while.
Yeah.
My friends Sarah and Cole, they used to go there. And then they brought me in there and they were looking for a bartender. And the owners and stuff had come and see me at other bars and they offered me a position there for a little while. But one thing that made me a little nervous was their cocktails like that. They're like the specialty cocktails. Those always, I don't know why, made me a little bit nervous because there were so many things in it.
Yeah, there's just
not saying that I was horrible.
Droplets of this and that all over.
But it was
And it takes like 8 minutes just to make one drink.
If I never had to make it one drink again, it would be the fucking Bloody Mary, dude. Oh,
Right. No, for me, it's a mojito. I don't want to muddle anything anymore.
I hated the Bloody Mary just because people would order it on a Saturday night, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're not even
It's
drinking
a
right.
hangover drink. What are you doing?
You're not drinking right.
Yeah, you're doing
But it's
it
like,
wrong.
it's so busy. What are you doing? It's so busy. What are you doing? Get something that, we
especially
can
when
get
you
out
don't
to
just
really
have Bloody
fast.
Mary mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the bad part about it too is I was really good at it because I put so much joy and pride into my work.
Mm-hmm.
If I made a bad Bloody Mary, I'd feel terrible.
Bloody Marys is that drink where you can make it really good or you can make it really awful.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a
exactly.
broad spectrum of quality in a Bloody Mary.
So when people come and are like, Jenny, I want one of your Bloody Marys. I'm like, son of a bitch, stop making it good. They'll stop ordering it.
Do it poorly. They won't ask you anymore.
I would say my favorite drink to make was a martini, though. Any kind of martini, only because if you get the pour just right and the exact amount is in that shaker and you pour it out and it just up to the little part up to the brim, it's just like, I am so good. We did that at Sully's. They brought in this like professional guy that was like teaching pouring and stuff like that.
Pour counts.
And and I did mine. Yes, I did mine, and he was just like, "Who did this one?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "That's perfect." I'm like, it's like, "Thank you." I know. My pour count was always on point.
With all those highfalutin drinks, I like that they can take 50 cents of hooch and turn it into a $20 drink, but it's like, this is taking way too long. It's like building a cake or something.
Yes, exactly. It's like, usually when I go out drinking, I want to fucking drink, man.
Yeah. Nobody drinks Greyhounds anymore. Nobody drinks screwdrivers anymore.
Unless something's known to be world renowned and I should try it at least once in my life. Yeah, I'll go first. I love a screwdriver, man. Oh, yeah. I had one more story.
Let's go. What you got?
So I was thinking about this. So you always get those people the Karens. You got the Karens every once in a while. So I had a group of people that were celebrating like a birthday. It was earlier in the day and they were drinking Blue Moon. And they didn't finish their beers. So there were like some full ones, some almost empty, and then a pitcher that's half full. So this couple, like that party was leaving, and this other couple had come in and they went and sat at the tabletop right next to theirs. And they had ordered from the bar, so I didn't know what they had. Well, the lady from that couple was drinking Blue Moon as well and decided to set her glass on the table with all the other almost empty ones. And I'm going to clean them up. And I do the thing where you put your fingers into the glasses so you can pick them all up at once. And she rips the beer out of my finger hand. She's like, "Did you just stick your finger in my beer?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry." The people that just left that, explained to her what happened. She was just like, I swear to God, her head was going to explode. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, calm down. I'll get you a brand new one. And she was just huff and puffing the whole time, just like yelling at me. I'm like, okay. So I go in the back and I get her a new one and I set it down. And the best part, she wasn't paying attention. I set it down and the husband looks at me and I'm like, "I'm really sorry." And he rolls he's like, "It's okay." Like this happens all the fucking time. Like, "I'm so sorry." But it's just like, don't get mad at the server for making an honest mistake. Like, you put it with a bunch of almost empty beers.
It's like a dirty table.
Yeah, why wouldn't you put it in front of you, right next to you? They were tall tabletops that were kind of next to each other and stuff, but it's like clean table that you're sitting at, dirty table that I'm trying to clean. Let's put 2 and 2 together, Karen.
Yeah. How did that end up?
Oh, I ended up getting to leave shortly after that, so somebody else had to deal with it.
Somebody else's problem now.
I gave them a warning, though. It's like, let them keep ordering from the bar. Let them get in that line over there.
That's part of the memory for me. There were 2 women. The whole lounge area is fairly empty, and they were sitting away from the bar. They had their first round. One woman comes up and orders her second drink. You got it. So my server, I remember his name was Leo, came up to the service bar.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, this is for that pair down there. Could you drop this off and give them their new tab?" And he said, "Sure." So he went and dropped that off. He didn't pick up the old tab, but he dropped off. And then when they're ready to go, she comes up hands me cash and the tab, and it was the old tab. And I said,
Okay.
and I go to the register. I go, oh, wait a minute. You owe more money than this. No, that's my tab. No, you ordered 2 drinks. This is your new tab. And it turned into a problem.
Right.
You know, I was like, you know how many drinks you had. You know, just because I'm behind a bar doesn't make me a moron, you know.
Exactly. It's like, don't even try it.
You order 2 drinks, you get charged for 2 drinks. That's how this works.
Yeah.
And then she's complaining that I'm ripping her off and all this kind of thing. I'm just, you know what? Drink at home. You know,
If you had like 12 drinks, I might lose count too. But 2, I know how many 2 drinks are.
Complaining about me ripping her off. Oh, yes, I'm ripping you off for your second well drink that was $5.
It's like, if I made a mistake, I would own up to it. I swear to you on that, but I know what I'm doing here.
Just trying to swim upstream all the time.
All the time.
But my beautiful friend, Jenni Emerson, thank you so much for coming to Servitude. It was great.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy. I got to tell people about how we met and stuff too. That's always.
Yes. Well, that is our veteran bar server and bartender, Jenni Jack Emerson. Thanks so much for coming out. This has been episode 3 of Servitude, Tales from the Weeds. I am B. Frank. Don't forget to tip at least 15%. Thank you and take care. Good night.